All right, everybody, welcome back to the Rooted Lifestyle Podcast.
We're your hosts, Justus and Camryn Woods.
And we are so happy that you guys are back with us for another week.
Yeah, welcome back.
Absolutely.
This will be an exciting one.
This will be an exciting one. So what are we talking about today, Justus?
We are talking about our health and fitness journeys.
Absolutely. Just talking about how we got to where we are today, what took us there, what brought us there, and how we ended up here.
Yeah, and I think this will help with just like the people listening because, you know, everybody starts at a different stage in their like health and fitness journeys. And I know for us, we didn't start the way where we are today.
Absolutely
so
not.
We both went through our own respective journeys and you know, it's made us who we are. And I think I'm really excited. I'm very excited about yours.
I'm excited about yours.
No, yours is crazy because I feel like whenever I tell people your story, they're like, I don't believe you.
Fake story. Like, it's not real. It's a lie. It's all a lie.
Yeah, and it should be a lie.
What? It should be a lie. What does that mean? No.
It sounds like it's a lie.
Yeah, it's silly. Every time I meet people, I'm like embarrassed to tell them.
Yeah,
so
it's
here
not embarrassing.
are
it's kind of cool.
all of the listeners that I'm going to tell my story to.
Well, yeah, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Justus. All right, so I grew up just like every other kid, eating candy and all of the junk food just because I could, and then I would eat the occasional fruit and veggie because my parents made me. Which was fine. It was fine. I had no dietary restrictions. I didn't have to eat a certain way. It was good. I was a kid loving life because I got to eat Taco Bell every Sunday after church with my family.
I wasn't a fan of Taco Bell.
I think that I was only because I ate the cheese quesadilla. That's the only thing I would get.
Order? The cheese quesadilla?
That's it. Those things were huge.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. So I would eat that and I was a happy girl. And then my whole life kind of changed when I went on a mission trip to Ethiopia at the summer after my freshman year of high school. And on the last couple of days there, I was actually bit by a bug, I'm assuming, because I never saw anything bit me. I never felt anything bite me. And that night, I was kind of in and out of consciousness, just like blacking out, not really there. I had a really high fever. Should have gone to the hospital, but there probably weren't any hospitals that I should go to in Ethiopia that we were around. And so my sister, who probably has the picture now, still to this day, somewhere in the iCloud, there are just bites over my entire back, everywhere. Not one bite. It was like
so. It was like
hundreds.
It was like multiple bugs. It wasn't.
Yes.
It wasn't.
Well, I don't know. It could have
you
spread.
didn't feel it.
I didn't feel it.
You just woke up and you had those marks all over your back, and you were.
And no one
sweating.
else got bit. No one.
That's weird.
It was so weird. It was so weird. It's just like the most surreal story ever. And so my sister is like sending my dad pictures of my back.
Yeah.
Because he's a doctor, so he wanted to take a look at them. And we had a doctor with us, which we were very fortunate to have a doctor with us. And she was just kind of like with me the whole time, like keeping a cold towel on my head, making sure I'm like okay.
Yeah.
And then made it home, and I was recovering there. I think I went to the doctor. They gave me some antibiotics and stuff, and I was fine. And then a couple of days later, could have just been a weird timing thing, but I definitely think it was correlated to this. I have this huge rash on my neck up here.
Yeah.
I've never had skin issues, even as a baby. Like, you know how babies get eczema or like some weird skin issues? I never had.
So it's just like all down your neck, all down your chest.
It was on the left side of my neck.
Okay.
Just like this huge splotch of redness.
And
And
did it hurt or just
no? It was just red, and it was itchy.
Okay.
Red and itchy. And it was the same consistency as the rest of my skin. So it was so weird. Super, super weird. So I go to a couple doctors. I actually ended up going to 9 doctors.
That's a lot of doctors.
9. And I went to 9 because none of them would help me. They tried.
What would they like say?
So they gave me just a topical cream, topical antibiotic. And I took it for about a month. And then that's when I went to another doctor because the second I stopped, it came back.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, it came back with vengeance too. It was like way worse when it came back. And it would spread. It went, so it would go away from my neck and then it would come back a couple days later. And then it would show up on my arm too. So then I have it in 2 places. And then the worst place that it ever showed up was on my eye, underneath my eyelid. It was like, it looked like someone cut under my eye. And it was puffy, and it was swollen, it was horrible. That was the worst. And some days I'd wake up and I like couldn't see out of my eye. It was so bad.
Yeah.
And so I'm desperate. I'm going to all of these doctors, like the best recommendations in Charlotte, and they all wanted to help me, of course, but none of them really could.
Yeah.
And after getting 9 no's or 9, here, take these pills or use this topical cream, I was just kind of like, I can't do this.
Why didn't any of these doctors, like, what were some of their diagnoses? Like, what did some of them say?
Some of them would just be like, I think that you just have a skin disease and this pill will help. And then my favorite, this is actually really funny. I probably shouldn't tell this story, but it's funny. One of the doctors, I just happened to have nail polish on when I went to his office, and he told me, he was like, you know, Camryn, I really think you're allergic to your nail polish. And I was like, excuse me?
What?
Like, maybe. I was like, okay, I'm open to the idea. Maybe I'm allergic to my nail polish. But then I was like, wait, this was before gel, dip powder, anything like that was even a thing, and I was just wearing normal polish, and I didn't have it on all the time.
Yeah.
And it was only on my neck at this point when I went to him. I think this was my first doctor.
Yeah.
And he was like, yes, I think you sleep with your hands on your fingernails touching your neck every single night, and that's why you have a rash. And I was like, okay, he's whack. We got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. My mom and I were like,
their nails on, with their, actually, I don't know.
Actually? What do you mean actually? No
you
one's...
sleep,
I sleep with my hands on my chin.
Yeah.
I sleep some funky ways.
Yeah.
Strange. I don't know. But, okay, true. I do sleep on my stomach with my hands, like, in thinker position.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys called it?
Yeah, thinker position.
Anyways, that's so besides the point. So my mom and I were I was really discouraged. And, of course, my mom wants to help me. I'm her daughter, and, you know, she wants to help me. And so my mom has an autoimmune disease. And for those of you who don't know, you can't really fix that with modern medicine.
And what is, like, an autoimmune disease? I know there's, like, many different types.
There are so many.
Like, is there...
Like, an example would be, like, Hashimoto's. And so what it is your immune system is attacking your body. Where it's supposed to help you, it's actually attacking you. And so that can be in so many different avenues. And probably very common things that you guys have heard of and you didn't know was an autoimmune disease, but that's what they are.
Does that include, like, thyroid?
Mm-hmm. Thyroid disease,
thyroid
yes.
Disease,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Thyroid disease, autoimmune disease, yes. All of that stuff. And so my mom does have thyroid disease.
Okay.
Another common one is Hashimoto's. And so she was aware of inflammation in the body because that's kind of what your immune system is doing. It's attacking itself, so like your body is completely inflamed.
Yeah.
And so we kind of took it upon ourselves to just do the work. We were like, okay, I'm not going to take this pill that's not even helping me for the rest of my life. Like, there's no way. And keep in mind, I'm about to be a sophomore in high school, so I'm kind of like, this is stupid. Like, my life is over. Whatever.
What was that kind of like? I guess, like, you know, in terms of having these conditions, these skin condition and the rashes, like.
I would say it was
high school.
With my best friends.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Because I would every time before we would hang out, I'd be like, please don't look at my, like, of course you have to look at my face, but I was like, please don't stare at my neck or like don't stare at my arms because I was really embarrassed. It's mortifying.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
like,
especially being in high school.
In high school, and I had to go to school every single day, and I know that there were days where I would just be like, Mom, could you please call in sick? Like, I can't do it today. It was the worst when it was on my eye.
Yeah.
Because with your neck, I tried to cover it up with makeup.
It, yeah.
Your eye, you couldn't. It was the only one that would get puffy and inflamed. It was horrible. It was painful. But only the eye was painful. That was another thing. It was weird. It was like different symptoms on every rash. And so after a couple of months, my mom was just kind of like, you know, Camryn, the functional medicine avenue or the functional nutrition avenue, things like that. And so for those of you who don't know what functional medicine is, defined by the Institute of Functional Medicine, it is a biology-based approach that focuses on identifying and addressing the root cause of disease. And so because of that, my mom was like, okay, the root cause of most diseases on your body, in your body, is the gut. It all starts with the gut. Well, it starts with the mouth, but then it goes to the gut type of deal. And my mom was like, why don't we work towards an inflammatory diet, like anti-inflammatory diet, all those things. And I was like, okay, that sounds really silly. I'm a sophomore in high school. I don't even know what that means. I don't want to do it. I'm just miserable. I hate everything, whatever. And my mom I was desperate. And she was like, Camryn, I really think that this might be your only shot right now.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't so bad to where I was going to go to like Mayo Clinic and get all this help and stuff like that. It was nothing like that. Like I was living just fine. I was fine. It was just my skin. It was really embarrassing. So I was like, you know, you've lived a little bit longer than I have, and you have some experience with this type of stuff. So like, let's go for it. I had nothing to lose.
And what happened?
So we tried with the Whole30 diet.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't know, the Whole30 is an elimination diet. And it's just for 30 days where you eliminate all inflammatory foods and oils. So no alcohol, no inflammatory oils, such as like peanut oil or canola oil. No sugar, no grains, dairy. No gluten, no dairy.
Yeah.
And there's probably other things in that too, but that's pretty much all I can remember at the moment. And she was like, let's just do it together. Let's do it together. And I think that if I didn't have my mom doing it with me, I would have been like, okay, I'm sick of this. Like, this is dumb. But she did it with me. We did it for 30 days. And while it was hard, I can hands down say, I've never slept better. I've never felt better. I've never looked better. My skin was perfect. my attitude was so much better. And there's just like a level of confidence that you get when you feel good and when you think that you look good. It's just like you're a whole different level of confidence versus I feel horrible, I'm inflamed, my skin looks horrible, and all of that stuff. So I did the Whole30 diet. And in high school, I would definitely say up and down with this skin disease that we finally called it eczema. We were just like atopic dermatitis, that's what it is. And it was only on my upper body though, which was really strange. It was weird. I don't know.
Yeah, the whole thing
weird.
is like, and like, because you have even told them about the weirdest part about like how the bite actually changed like what you even could eat. I know you switched.
Yes.
You switched to a more like no gluten, no dairy diet, but like you had to go no dairy, no gluten actually.
So yes, thank you for reminding me of that. One of the doctors that I went to was an allergist because we were desperate. We were like, this looks like an allergy, and I got tested for all of like the food allergies and everything. Anything you get tested for, I got tested for, and it came back that I was intolerant to gluten. I wasn't celiac, but I couldn't eat gluten anymore. They're like, you're allergic to gluten. I was like, what do you mean? A month ago, I could eat bread. I could eat anything that I wanted to. And so that was probably one of the hardest things to digest. And one of the things that I was like, there's no way.
When was like the moment that you like thought that something was like, did you eat bread when you got back and you got sick or
I
like?
don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
Because that's just like really weird. I bet that's like really shocking, especially like being in high school and stuff during a time when like being gluten free and stuff wasn't a trendy thing. Like,
oh my gosh,
how did being gluten free change? Because I know the food probably tasted like cardboard.
It was bad back then. It was. What was that?
15, 16?
15. 16? 15.
Yeah, 15 or 16.
We'll settle on 15.
Yeah.
Anyways, the gluten-free food back then was not good. And ironically enough, the only person I knew that was gluten-free was my older sister, my oldest sister. And I was like, this girl has some weird allergies. She always had allergies her whole life, like carrots and corn and things like that. And so I was like, oh, she's allergic to gluten. It is what it is. But then I was like, I'm allergic to gluten? There's no way. And I think that was just a really hard shift because, like you said, no one was doing it. It wasn't trendy. It wasn't cool. And so I would bring, while everyone's eating pretzels and cheese or tater tots or whatever they wanted.
Pretzels, cheese, and tater tots for lunch.
I was just thinking back to, like, what did I eat during snack time? Do you remember when I used to eat
tater tots?
No tater tots. I remember. Do you remember? Were we like friends when I used to eat pretzels and cheese all the time, every break?
I don't think so. If we were, then I wasn't watching.
If you want a good snack, eat some cheddar cheese, like cubed cheddar cheese and pretzels. That was my snack. It was my snack. Okay, anyways.
Back to the no dairy, no gluten.
See, I ate it all the time, and like coming back and just realizing that I couldn't do that anymore, I was just kind of like, you're lying to me. Like, there's no way. And I don't remember the first time. I think once he told me that, I was like, okay, I'm done with the gluten. Like, I don't want this to happen anymore. I'm desperate.
Yeah.
And then one time within like the first year of becoming gluten-free, this place made me a gluten-full pizza. And at that time, I didn't realize it because I just didn't know the difference. And I ate the whole thing. And long story short, I was dead for the rest of the night. Like, I was throwing up the whole night.
Yeah.
And it took a couple days to feel better. It just exhausted me. And I was like, literally what the heck is going on? There's no way this is real. And so I feel like after that, I saw the repercussions of eating gluten. And I was like, okay, clearly it doesn't agree with my body. But like, how? Literally, how did that happen? And I've read, there are articles on articles of ticks, parasites, certain bugs, even in America, that can bite you. And they can get into your bloodstream and completely change your immune system. And so, sure, the timing was really weird if you just want to believe that it wasn't the thing in Africa, but like the timing was
the timing
weird.
Does line up to where like you went to Africa, you got sick, you came back and you started developing rashes, your body could digest changed. So I definitely think that was correlated to, what you had experienced in Africa.
I agree.
And I think that although it's not a common thing, I feel like it probably has happened to other people before.
Yeah, there are some wacky things that happen to people, but
I looked up I forgot what it's called. There's like a bug that basically if you get bitten by it, you become a vegetarian.
Okay. You gotta cite
like
that. I don't believe you.
You can't eat meat.
Actually, I should believe you because this kind of happened to me. So.
Yeah, exactly. If it can happen to you, it can happen to somebody else. So just don't get bit by bugs out there.
I was about to say, we're just scaring people. They're just going to be scared of bugs. Anytime they see a bug, they're going to scream and run the other way. No, I'm kidding. People get bit by bugs all the time. They're fine. I got bit by mosquitoes like last week and I'm fine. But long story short, back to the topic of discussion, I was fine kind of in high school. The rashes came and went. It was what it was. I just kind of accepted it. I was like, this is my life now. I'm just going to have to hide rashes for the rest of my life with makeup. And it hurts, but I'll do it. So then I go to college, and I would say before I went to college that summer, I really tried to fix my diet back to like low inflammation. And I was fine going into college, and then I'm like, whoa, I can eat whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. So I had like ice cream every single night. Like, really? Why
what kind of ice cream?
Oh, the Talenti ice cream, the mint chocolate chip.
So what a
Talenti? I don't think you like it.
I only know Ben and Jerry's.
Oh, please. No, you don't. You know Halo Top. That stuff is good.
Yeah, name all the...
Bluebell?
Bluebell.
Bluebell
so
ice cream.
Good.
Oh, the Trader Joe's vanilla ice cream. Shout out to my dad. That's his favorite.
Yeah.
I know that one. Anyways, I ate ice cream every single night. And so on top of the added freshman 15, which was unfortunate, my eczema was back.
Yeah.
And almost worse than ever. And I was like, okay. Like, I still wasn't eating gluten. I never eat gluten. Ever, ever, ever. But I ate, who knows what I was eating. I mean, it was from, like, a cafeteria at my college. So who knows? And so I think when COVID happened and everything was shutting down, I was like, oh, I'm going to be home for who the heck knows how long. And so I was like, maybe I'll try the Whole30 again. And you were actually home at this time. But I think it was before you got home that I was starting the Whole30 with my mom again, because it's really, really helpful if you do it with another person.
Yeah.
If you do it with someone that's in the same household, very helpful, because you can cook together, you can like do it together. And when you're miserable and
you can be miserable,
hating your life, you can be miserable. No, I'm kidding. You only hate your life for like the first 3 days.
Only the first 3 days.
That's not that bad. Actually, day 1 you're like thriving, and then day 2 and 3 you're like, oh, no. Anyways, so I go home, do the Whole30, and once again, skin is perfect. The mood is perfect. I'm sleeping incredible. That's the craziest thing to me too, is the sleep. But that's another topic for another time. And it was just insane. And so I think after that, I was kind of like, this is the last straw. I'm done inflaming my body. And sure, I did gain weight freshman year, but I also do think I know you can gain weight from inflammation. Like, it's not necessarily like body weight. It's almost like water retention, how you retain water and you gain weight from that. You can gain inflammation weight 100%.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy how even just throwing inflammatory foods out of your diet for a week, you could feel better. Mm-hmm. And like you could look skinnier almost. Not that the goal is to look skinny, but I get really bad inflammation in my face. And so I think that once that was canceled out, I was like, okay, this is the last straw. I'm done treating my body horribly because my body deserves better than this. Mm-hmm. And I know that I can feel better. I think that was the other side of it, is like knowing that there is an alternative and choosing the alternative. And not to say that the rest of college I didn't, like, I would still do my things. Like, I would eat queso, I would eat chips, I would eat whatever, but I really try to stick to the 80-20 lifestyle, which we'll talk about
I mean, you figured out what works for your body and what made you feel the best, and
Absolutely.
You stuck with it. That's not to say that you didn't, like, diverge from that every now and then, but, like, you, in more often than not, you stuck to kind of your diet and your regimen to make yourself feel better.
And it wasn't, most people would see that as restriction or like you're just making yourself miserable, but in reality, it was not restriction at all, because it was making myself feel better.
Yeah.
It was physically, internally making myself feel better and feel more confident, and it made me happy. Yeah. And so I can safely say that as of like a year and a half ago, I have not had eczema, and I've been taking it really seriously. And I'm still eating.
That's awesome.
You know, we probably had queso last night. Like, I'm still doing what I do.
I think you've given your body, though, a great, like, foundation of, like, healthy eating, that it's like it would take a lot to kind of revert back to
I think so too.
Where it was before.
I think so too. So that's my crazy nutritional journey.
So what about, like, on the fitness side of things? You talked about your nutrition, but what about, like,
how am I a certified personal trainer?
You are a certified personal trainer.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, where did that come? Being a hospitality major to now
that was
being a certified personal trainer, like, kind of give a background on you know, your fitness journey, where you started, and what caused you to see where you are. So, starting back to high school, I mean, I was a cheerleader. They tried to get the cheerleaders to work out, which was hilarious. It was kind of a joke. Some of us took it seriously, but not me. But my push-ups were good. You had great push-ups.
We would do push-ups not before. After you guys always got a touchdown.
Every touchdown you'd score. Whatever the score was of the game, they do push-ups. So, like, if we just scored and it was only 7 points, they do 7, but, like, if we scored our fourth touchdown and got 28 points, they do 28 push-ups. I think there was one game we scored like 60-something points, And you guys just like gave up.
I think we were just staring at the coaches. Like, are you being serious right now? It was hilarious. Like, we were all laughing about it. And, like, I think that was the most mortifying moment for the cheerleaders, I'll be honest. Anyways, PTSD. No, I'm just kidding. I love cheerleading. It was so fun. But we would try to get in the gym. They would try to make us lift weights. We're over there grabbing, like, 10-pound dumbbells total, doing our thing. So I learned some motions, technically, while we were in there. But I didn't really do anything crazy. And so I would go on the elliptical like 3 times a week and be like, oh, yeah, this is my workout for like 15 minutes. Like, I really didn't care. And I think going into college, we had free access to a gym.
Yeah.
And you were a part of this. But I remember texting you or calling you or something. And after probably a year of you begging me to lift up a weight.
I had to beg you for years.
Yeah.
Years.
And, like, of course, in high school, I'm like, no, I don't want to get bulky because us girls, like, why do we think that? It's so bad.
Pick up a weight and you automatically just become Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
That's just, well, I don't know what happened to me then because I did not become Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Look at you. You're basically, I can't tell the difference.
I don't know if I'm complimented by that. I can't decide if that's a compliment or not.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson's a very successful person. So
I thought you were about to say like I don't know what I thought you were going to say.
Okay.
Whatever, Justice. Thank you. I'll take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
So sweet. What was I even talking about?
Your fitness journey and how I was a part of it.
Yes. So
working out
back
at
to COVID.
College gym.
Yes, in college, I would go to the gym sometimes. Probably just sticking to the treadmill, bike, elliptical, because that's the only thing I knew how to do. And it is scary. I'll give you that. If you go into a gym and you don't know what you're doing, it's scary.
When you don't know what you're doing, and you're especially like going to a new gym and stuff, it can be intimidating because you don't want to look stupid. Like
exactly. Even though no one's watching.
Yeah,
no one's looking at you. No one is looking at you. But easier said than done. And I definitely understand the anxiety that people get going into a gym. So you came home during COVID, and you needed to work out, obviously, because you were recovering. Yes, you were still recovering.
Yeah, and I had still like my football workouts and everything like that.
And so I would go work out with him because I had a gym in my basement, which we were very fortunate for that. And we would go down there, we would work out, and I was like, I'm bored with doing the elliptical for 30 minutes. Like, this isn't fun for me. Like, will you show me, help me, whatever. And so I accredit all of this to you. You showed me how to work out. And I think that because you gave me that confidence and because you told me what I was supposed to be doing, it just made me more confident in myself and my abilities to go do it on my own. And so from this day forward, or from that day forward, I'm not saying that I max squat 250. Like, no.
350.
No.
Power cleaning.
No.
405 pounds.
Yeah, we'll tell them.
Yeah.
We'll tell them
We'll show them all your measurables.
You guys believe that. Yeah, I'll prove it next time. Or how would I prove that in a podcast?
We'll have a lift off next podcast.
We'll have a live. We'll have a live on our TikTok.
Stream on our TikTok.
Oh, gosh. No, we're not. Anyways, I've just loved it. I normally love dumbbells. I love dumbbells. I love dumbbell workouts because you can do so many things with that. But I do love the barbell, back squat, front squat, lunges, all that good stuff. But my favorite type of exercise is probably mat Pilates or yoga. And I think during COVID, all these people were posting their workouts online and stuff, and it was great because I got them for free. And so I think that's really where I fell in love with yoga. I've been doing it for a couple of years with my sister, just in a studio when we came home for like Christmas break and stuff. But I have been doing yoga for a very long time. I'm not certified in it, and I wish that I could be, but it's a big commitment. It's a lot of money. So stuck to personal training, and here I am today because honestly, I want to see people gain the confidence that I gained through you helping me, and I want to help other people. And I want people to be confident when they go to the gym, and I want people to not feel stupid even though they're not. They don't look stupid. It's okay if you don't know what you're doing. And like, that's the other thing, at least about the gym that we go to here, Recess Fitness Club. Love that gym.
Great gym.
They're always there to help. Like, no one that goes there is there to laugh at you. No one that goes there is there to make fun of you, but they're just there to help, and it's great.
Yeah.
So I am now a certified personal trainer, and I love helping people, writing up workout plans and all that good stuff. So
wow.
Grateful that you got me to where I am today.
Amazing. What a journey.
It was a crazy one.
Crazy.
But here we are. Wouldn't change a thing.
Neither would I.
Okay, enough about me, Justus. Let's talk about you, because you have also had an insane journey.
Man.
You have. Let's hear about it.
It hasn't been that
College
insane,
was interesting.
Yeah.
But let's hear about it.
Yeah. Well, I think, as a kid, I started out like any normal young boy, like not eating healthy. Like, I think, when your parents, when you have a young boy, parents just want to feed you whatever will fill you up, and that does not include any healthy foods. Usually it's like your pizzas, your pastas, your chips and all that. And like for me, I eat a lot of food, and I ate a lot of food growing up as well.
Whenever we make food here, there are never leftovers. You get 70% of the food.
There is
I get
a
the
rule.
30. It's rough. What's the rule?
The rule is,
oh man,
well, I eat everything off your plate when you don't finish it. But she gets mad at me because she'll like let me try some of her food, and she'll like push her plate towards me. But that's the universal
try.
signal.
Did you just hear yourself? You just said she'll let me try some of her food.
Well, she'll try, like air quotes.
No,
I air quoted.
No, no, you just
Like,
exposed yourself.
She'll push the plate towards me, and then I'll just start eating the whole thing, and then she gets mad at me.
I look away for 5 seconds, turn around, it's gone. All of it, gone.
That's the universal signal
and
for
then
your
starving.
food is not your own anymore. It's gone.
It's madness
It's
out
mine
here.
now.
I feel like I'm in a lion's den.
Yeah.
Fighting for my food. It's rough.
Yeah.
But we're making it work. It's fine. I still love you.
Well,
as long as you're full, it's fine. Anyways, back to you as a little chubby thing.
So, like, even I would go to, like, Cece's Pizza, you know, as a kid. For those of you who don't know, it's, like, one of those, like, buffet-style, like, pizza places.
I've never been there.
Well, you're missing out.
Well, sounds like a gluten-free girl's nightmare.
Well, you weren't gluten-free for a time.
It's true.
And,
it wasn't.
You know, I'd go through the line, and I'd get, like, fettuccine Alfredo. I'd get breadsticks. I get macaroni and cheese pizza, like 4 pieces of that.
Like, this is just what you would get, like, every time you go? Like,
that'll be, like, my first serving.
Oh, this is in one sitting?
Yeah, and then I'd go back for, like, seconds, maybe thirds if I...
Oh, my gosh.
And then I'd try to make myself feel better and get one of the salads that has, like, the iceberg lettuce. It's, like, 90% water.
Super nutritional,
and
babe.
But these ranch dressing that's, like...
Hey, you tried 500 calories per one spoonful.
And then I top it off with some cinnamon buns.
Top off the salad?
No, top off the whole meal.
So how long were you at Cece's Pizza eating?
I'd crush it, and like we'd eat there only for like an hour or something.
Oh, man.
And then like Olive Garden, I'd get like the tour of Italy.
What is the tour of Italy?
It's like lasagna, fettuccine Alfredo, like chicken parm, and like all this other stuff. Basically, just like it's a tour of Italy. And
so you feel like you're right there in Italy?
I actually looked it up, and it's like 1,500 calories. It's like 95 grams of fat and like 48 grams of saturated fat. And I probably have eaten like 20 tour of Italy's in my life. So
I mean, that's health right there.
Yeah, perfect. And it honestly, like, it got to the point. I think it was like I was like 11 years old or something, where my parents actually brought me to like a fat camp. And it's like one of those things you see. It's not it's kind of not like what you see on the movies, but like. It was basically a room full of like games, like arcade games, but they were like tailored and made to be like exercise equipment. So like you'd have like the typical Dance Revolution, but it was like exercises, like squats and stuff, and that's how you get points. Or it was like the little motorcycle thing that you would ride on and like see it on the screen, and instead it was like you had a pedal to do it. So it's like manipulating me to thinking that I'm playing a game, and really I'm just like exercising.
But did it work? Is that what inspired your fitness journey?
No, that's not what inspired me at all. You know, I did not get inspired until...
You're like, I hate this.
Yeah.
I need to go to Cece's Pizza.
I did. Tour of Italy at Olive Garden, too.
Your parents probably like, dang it.
Yeah.
We tried.
Well, like, I had asthma, and it's like, I would hang out with my sister. We'd ride our bikes around, like, our little cul-de-sac area, and there was this stop sign. I was probably about 75 meters, probably less, like 50. And it's like, I'd always get so tired biking over there. Granted, like, I did have asthma, but I was just like...
really sad.
I was just like very out of shape. And I think I remember waking up one morning and I was just like, I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be out of shape anymore.
Are you kidding me?
No, I woke up.
You woke up.
I woke up and I was like, I don't want to be fat or out of shape anymore. Oh. And I think it's like when I was like 11 or something. And I saw my dad. My dad used to have these P90X tapes. I don't know if you remember them, like Tony Horton.
Yep.
And I think that I went to the guest room because that's like where we had like our little workout set
room.
up.
Yeah.
And I saw the tapes, and I was like, I'm going to start doing these workouts. So,
That's
I mean,
key.
obviously, like, being young, like, I didn't do, like, the heavy lifting or anything. Like, I mostly did, like, body weight and stuff. But, like...
You got to start somewhere.
I probably did, like, 2 push-ups the first time I did it. Maybe, like, probably 1.5. But,
that's okay. Any movement is rewarding movement.
Exactly. So, I think that really pushed me to, like, say, like, okay, like, I want to be better. And this was, like, parallel during the time when I was playing football as well. Because I was
Pee-wee football?
Pee-wee football.
Oh.
And like... I think the worst possible thing that you could be in Pee Wee football is an offensive lineman. Just because, like, every kid wants the ball. Every kid wants to score a touchdown and, like, celebrate and stuff. And it's like, there's no form in blocking in Pee Wee football. You're just like literally just a bowling ball in place. You're just basically like a wall for like the running back to run behind, and it's not fun. So I was like, I want to run the ball. So it's like I need to lose weight in order to do that. So I started losing a bunch of weight, and I slowly went from, I believe it was lineman to defensive end to tight end to running back.
That is really impressive. How long did it take you to do that?
Probably like a year.
That's awesome. And you did this all within your own willpower.
No, it was all me.
You knew what you wanted, and you went for it.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because like going into like 7th or 8th grade, I had the exact opposite problem. Like going through puberty, I jumped in height, and I was
so
like
skinny.
I was skinny. I had a long neck, and
there's a picture of us from freshman year, and he has the longest neck in the world, and I have the fattest head. I wasn't fat; my head was just huge.
You just had a big head.
Oh gosh, we both grew into them. Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness we did, because I looked like a dinosaur.
You did.
I looked like a
cute dinosaur.
I want to. We should show the picture if we have.
I don't know how you show it on the podcast.
I don't know how we show it.
I'll make it the cover of this.
We'll make it the cover of this podcast.
Yeah. Go on my TikTok; it's on there.
Yeah. So I think during that time, if you don't know what a running back looks like, it doesn't look like a tall, lanky kid, and that was me. And I think I was like, I still want to be running back, and I love that position. So I think that's what really fueled me to start eating and lifting more. Got to high school, started eating and lifting more too, still became a running back, or stayed a running back, and was fortunate enough to go to college and play too. And I think at the time I went to college, I was like 195. And then I think by the end of my sophomore year, or like the middle end of my sophomore year, I was like 230 pounds.
Wow.
235 pounds.
That's a huge difference. Did you physically feel the difference? See the difference?
So I did feel, my body's not supposed to be 235 pounds.
What would be like your practical weight? Like 200?
Probably like 210. I feel great.
And you're how tall?
I'm 6'2".
Okay.
I like being in that range, but yeah. I was just like way too heavy, and I think that stemmed from like supplementing from my injury, which I can go into a little bit more detail now explaining. But yeah, so basically the end of my freshman year, I had dislocated every ligament in my foot. It was during the spring game, actually. Somebody had tackled me and landed on my foot, and it literally snapped. And for those of you who don't know what a Liz Frank injury is, it's basically like, so you have your like 5 toes, and you have like a ligament lining up on all your toes. And Liz Frank, I think, is like 1, and I dislocated all of them and had like a bunch of fractures.
It was horrible. I was watching.
Yeah.
And
You're watching
I was
the
at
live
the beach.
stream? Yeah,
I was watching the live stream on the beach. And I was like, oh gosh, someone's down, whatever. This is horrible. And then I turn around for a minute and I see number 25. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, my foot was literally bent sideways. And like the craziest thing ever is that I went into the tent, and then one of the trainers was like, has your foot always been like this?
What do you mean? What do you mean has my foot always been like this? Look at my other foot.
It was literally like bent to the side. And
I remember when you were being,
yeah.
I think they just put you around their shoulders and you were like walking on one leg, and your foot literally did not even look connected to your body at all.
No, yeah.
I was like, they should maybe not show that on TV.
It was bad.
Horrible.
And it's like I had 3 surgeries, 15 screws, and 3 plates.
It was trauma too. Like you had to go to the trauma center.
I did. I had a trauma surgeon do all 3 of my surgeries. And
it was emergency surgery, like right off the bat.
Yeah, it got to the point where like after I had my surgeries, they're like, you may never walk again, and that's like a hard thing to swallow, especially like being a freshman.
That?
Yeah,
to
they
your
told
face?
me. Yeah, it was me and my dad.
Your dad. Oh,
it was me and my dad in the room together.
Wow.
And they had told me and my dad that I may not be able to walk again, or if I did walk, I would have to wear like this foot ankle brace thing that Army vets would wear after if their foot got blown off from like a landmine or something, or part of their foot. And I was like, I don't want to do, like, I want to play football. I came here to play football, like, and I still have my whole life ahead of me. So, you know, by the grace of God, of course, and also just by all the work that I put in, I was able to get back to playing football and being able to walk again, which was.
And some people, obviously, are not in, like, a fortunate spot to where they can fix anything.
Yeah.
But like you said, by the grace of God and, like, the way that everything worked out, that was possible.
Yeah, and I'm so thankful it's possible, because it could have easily have not been possible. It's not the case for a lot of people who suffer serious injuries, but I was just grateful enough and blessed enough that was able to happen to me. And I think that was during the time when I started gaining all that weight back and gaining all that size just because I wanted to get back to where I was because like my legs were atrophied. Like I hadn't been working out in months. It was like 8, 9 months I hadn't been working out, and I just felt heavy. And I think this was during the time of COVID. I went back home and I was just like, I just feel heavy. And I actually started developing Achilles tendonitis, which was basically like the inflammation in my Achilles because I wasn't running correctly or walking correctly because I was still like trying to get back to normal. And like my Achilles were like overcompensating for that. And like all the pressure was going on in my Achilles. And like it would be inflamed, like even just like running like up and down, like maybe like 20 yards. And I tried scraping, I tried like cupping, I tried all this stuff, and like nothing really worked. And I had come home from COVID, and I think it was you who had talked to me about like nutrition and
because
like,
I was doing the Whole30 because of my skin.
You were doing the Whole30, and it was like you were like, well, why don't you try like getting rid of inflammatory foods in your diet?
Think I gave you this whole speech. I was like, I can prove to you that inflammation can be started in your gut. And I was like, you have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Why not just try?
So
I was crazy.
I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. I was like, well, how can like what I eat affect my foot? And I was just like, okay, I'm desperate. I'm going to try. I'm going to do it. Like, because I was like, there's nothing else was working for me for my Achilles. So I was like, I'll try and do it. And so I did the Whole30. I'd be lying if I said I felt like effect like the first couple of days. The first couple of days just sucked. I just wanted food.
The worst.
I just wanted food and my feet still
and like
hurt.
you're an athlete. You're an athlete. You're not just going to go eat grilled chicken breast and broccoli. And like, I'm not saying that's what the Whole30 meals are. The Whole30 meals are great, but you're looking for like a quick supplement because you're starving.
Yeah.
And so whatever. It's just, not ideal for you, but you persevered.
Yeah. And I feel like it was probably like day 15 that I started feeling something. And the first thing I felt was that I just felt lighter. And I was like, I used to eat meals before and my body would just feel so full and I'd feel so bloated and heavy. And now I was like, oh, like I feel like good. Like I'm done eating, but I feel like good.
Yeah.
And then it kind of spurred into like, okay, like my Achilles were starting to actually feel a lot better. Like the inflammation wasn't there. Yeah, I would say probably like 15 days after that, 15 to 20 days after like I started feeling lighter, that my Achilles started feeling a lot better. And it wasn't back to like 100% to where it was. Like I still felt pain, but it was just like a lot less inflamed. And I was like, I can move now. I can like run and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is actually insane that food in your body can affect like other parts, and it makes sense. I mean, like I know like we were looking at a study from like Harvard Health that talked about how like certain foods create bacteria that stimulate inflammation in your body, and there are some foods that kind of like suppress.
Yeah, there we go.
Suppress.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some foods that create bacteria that suppress inflammation in your body. So I tried to do the Whole30, just eliminate the foods that would cause inflammation in my body, and I felt it not just in my gut, but like my whole body.
Right. That's awesome. And I'm sure you were like trying to take any help that you could get. And it's just crazy that knowing you before and after you did this, you would have never done that. Like I remember trying to make a gluten-free bread for you because I'm like, no, I'm not known. Just by my family, no one else. For my famous gluten-free chocolate chip bread. And I love it, banana bread. And I made it for you once. And this was right after the Whole30.
It was actually, that was the first
loved it.
That was the first gluten-free thing that I was like, this doesn't taste like cardboard.
I think my life was complete on that day when you said that you loved it, because it was such a compliment for me because you were so anti all of this, and I understand it's weird. It's weird. And now it's a trend, but
I think like too another aspect is like I love to cook, and like the fact that healthy foods or like gluten-free foods usually taste like cardboard, or they did.
Yeah, they were like, so bad when I first started eating.
It was like another incentive for me of like, okay, like I want to make healthy foods taste good.
Absolutely. And you're so good at it. You are a great chef.
Thank you.
I love it. It's really nice living with you. You just whip up some nice dinner and it's awesome.
Some Whole30 meals.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think that's what really helped me was doing that nutritional shift, and I've carried that with me throughout today. And it's not, I don't stay on the Whole30 diet, of course, because I know that we'll talk about this later, that it's not a lifestyle, it's more like a reset. But like even doing the Whole30, like I changed just daily kind of how I ate. Like I ate less grains, like and stuff like that. I carried some of the practices that I used during the Whole30 like throughout my time afterwards. So
yeah, and it's definitely rewarded you. I mean, you love it, and we both love it, which is so great. We both inspire each other to like maybe that won't make you feel good type of thing. But we still have our fun all the time. I mean, we go out every weekend and we go to a Mexican restaurant because we're in Dallas, so we have to.
Part of our 80-20 lifestyle that we'll talk about next week.
Absolutely. We'll get into that.
Yeah, I think so that's the nutritional side. And I just think for the fitness side, it's pretty self-explanatory that I've always loved, I've always been a weight room guy. Like in high school, I loved weightlifting. In college, I loved weightlifting. And I think, going through that college experience of playing college football, it only increased my love for it. And I learned mobility, I learned form, and I learned all these different things that I just love being in the weight room, pushing myself and things like that. So
I know a lot of people who are ex-athletes, ex-collegiate athletes, who come out of it and they don't want anything to do with the weight room. They're kind of almost traumatized by it, or they just hate it. So how did that work with you?
I think for me, it was for the first time in for a very long time, nobody's screaming and yelling at me at 5 a.m. and telling me what to do. And it's for me, I get to decide what I want to do. If I want to change up the sets, I'll change up the sets. If I want to change the music, I'll change the music. If I want to slow down or speed up, I can do that. So it's I have more ownership over my workout split.
So you just grew to love it.
So I grew to love it. I grew to love having the complete autonomy of deciding I get to wake up this morning and work out because I want to, not because you're telling me to.
Yeah, shout out to Justus.
Yeah.
He wakes up early to work out, but I can't give away too much.
Yeah.
So you are very inspired. You have not always been, since college. I feel like you've even grown to love it more, like you said before. Yeah. And it's awesome because it's nice on the days that, I mean, there's some days I don't want to work out, and of course I don't, but you're just so persistent with it, and you're awesome with it, and I just love it.
I think having not playing football anymore, it's it gives me that competitiveness that I miss.
That release,
that release that I need, and I think that is what really drives me too, is just having that. But I mean, I attribute you to my nutrition,
thank you.
goals, and you attribute me to. For fitness and
for the weight room, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that's why we go together so well.
That's the only reason.
That's the only reason why we go together. It's the only reason why we are together.
Oh, please, that's not. There are so many reasons why we're together, but that definitely helps. Our lifestyles are very similar, which is great.
Having similar lifestyles is a huge thing, because it's if you didn't care about healthy eating or going to the gym, it's you wouldn't understand why I do it, or I wouldn't understand why you do it. Right.
So it's awesome. But if you guys have any more questions, please ask us questions on Instagram, TikTok, anything like that. Mail. Yeah. No, our address is not out for the public. It's just simply not. You could email us. I think our email address is out there. Write us a note. I don't need it. Yeah, write us a little love letter. What are the pen pal? Be our pen pal.
Write us a love letter.
Not a love letter. Tell us how much you love us. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, be our pen pal. No, but we are so happy that we could have this conversation with you guys.
This was awesome, and I think hopefully you guys, took some little nuggets of our stories whatever stage of life or whatever stage of your journey that you're in, hopefully that you can know that everybody doesn't start off automatically going Whole30. Everybody doesn't start off waking up early to work out in the gym for 2 hours and stuff like that. I think it's definitely a process, and it's it doesn't look the same for everybody. Health looks different for everyone.
And you don't have to have an event. Exactly. We both we definitely had events to where our lives kind of shifted. You don't have to have one. You can be like Justus, young Justus, and wake up and say, I want to change. Okay, not that. Not you don't want to be fat anymore. Just say, I want to do this for myself.
Yeah,
don't do it for anyone else. Do it for yourself. And next episode, we're definitely going to talk about what our lifestyles look like now.
The 80-20 lifestyle.
Absolutely. And we will give tons of tips and tricks on just kind of how we live our life.
It's kind of a day in the life of
the best.
J and C.
J. Oh, that's odd.
C and J.
C and J. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Just a day in our life. What we eat, what our workout splits are, things
all of
like
it.
That. So.
We're just going to talk about all of it. How to keep motivated, inspiring, all these things. Yeah. But yes, thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you all so much for listening. And we will see you next week.
Absolutely. Bye.